Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to Hybrid Movies episode 30. I'm your host, Nick, and as always, I'm joined by James.
Hi, Diddley-o, neighborinos. How are you all doing today?
Doing well. And we have Josh with us this time.
Yeah, decided to come on, because why not? It's been a while.
Because we had nobody else. Michael, I don't know where. I think Michael is actually at Fan Expo this weekend. That was kind of like last minute. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to this con." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So there's that, and then Luke has been having mic troubles, so we couldn't have him on either. But
yeah, we're sending him a new mic though, so hopefully he'll be on next week.
Yeah, I think he'll be coming back next week. He's been gone actually from the podcast for a while, but apparently this was the worst summer box office in years. And almost 2 decades, I think. James, any thoughts on how summer movies have been? And you're an insider too. You see people how they choose to see movies. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So like during the summer, like really the only big movie that I can really think of that like did really big was Wonder Woman. Like that was the one movie that people kept coming back for. Like
yeah.
all the other movies, like, you know, we would have like that big bump in business for like that one weekend and then nothing for like the other weekends. Whereas with Wonder Woman, like we kept getting like, you know, repeat business.
Like the same people.
Yeah, exactly. And now we're in a point where like the movies that are coming out are just so bad that we've ended up having to, you know, cut people's hours. You know, we've had to send people home early.
Damn.
You know, not call people in. Even with the managers, like we've had to, you know, go bare bones staff just to save on hours.
Yeah.
So that's really disappointing. Now, hopefully, you know, with the upcoming months, we'll be able to get back some of that business that we had, you know, during the summer. Because I keep telling, you know, my general manager that honestly we're probably not going to see, you know, like a big surge of business until the holiday season, because that's when you know you got your Thor, Coco,
your Star Wars,
exactly, yeah,
your Jumanji.
Well, yeah.
I don't think that movie's gonna track well, honestly, from what I saw.
You don't have a good
trailer.
weekend.
Like the trailer kind of turned me off, but.
Yeah, and when there's like other movies that you'd think that would do well over the summer, like I thought Planet of the Apes would, you know, be big. It did just okay.
Right.
Spider-Man: Homecoming did pretty good, but again, not Wonder Woman levels.
Uh-huh.
And like the kids movies that would come out, like it didn't really make too much of a dent. Like
what
Cars
about
3.
Despicable Me 3? That made a lot of money.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but not as much as like the second one or the first one.
Or Lego Batman.
I remember cleaning up the Minions movie. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So many kids packs.
No, I'm not sure what the deal is. I don't know if like, you know, people are just tired of going to the movies for the summer, or what the deal is.
I think it is. It's really because so much of because ticket prices and everything, the cost of just going out to see a movie in the theaters has gone up obviously in the past 15 years, and I think that really like early reviews play so much of a factor in how people choose movies too, like Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, all that stuff. Because really people are like, you know, oh, if the movie gets like, if it doesn't get like a good fresh score, I'm not going to go see it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with Nick. I think, and I want to retract my previous statement about Jumanji, because I was thinking about it and I was like, actually no, that movie's going to get a lot of kids and families in it, because you have Kevin Hart, you have The Rock, just that
Jack Black.
Just, you know, they're just streamlining the movie. That's not going to even go into probably just how well they're going to be able to market that movie to kids overall, you know. And then parents might be thinking about Jumanji, and you know, they'll think about watching the old Jumanji and all that stuff. It'll be like, I think, the go-to family kids movie when it comes out. But so in that regard, I think it'll do well. I don't know if it'll do well for like my demographic per se, but definitely younger demographic, I think it'll excel. But you know, I agree with Nick though. I think a combination of Well, James, you said it pretty well. The movies they're making just kind of aren't good all the time. And they're making a lot of those movies that aren't good. So it kind of makes you not really want to go see movies. And then it makes you more skeptical, I should say, to see a movie. So then you do stuff like what Nick was saying, which is where you put more weight on kind of like websites like Rotten Tomatoes. And you wait longer to see a movie because you want to see more reviews of it first. And then you decide to see the movie. So it's like... And also, Nick hit on the nail too. I mean, they raise the prices all the time. It just gets more expensive. And then they do stuff like gimmick stuff to make you spend more, where it's like they'll release it in 3D first. Or like, and then they'll put the movie theaters in a bad position. So like the movie theaters will kind of push the 3D more, and they'll push, like, let's say the IMAX or the RPX more. But people don't really want to see that per se because it's so much more expensive. So I mean, especially for like families, you know, like there's nothing worse than, like, I remember selling tickets to families, and James, I know you can attest to this too. And it's like, if it's a situation where we really only have like a 3D or IMAX because the rest of them are taken, then a family to go see a movie, let's say your standard nuclear family per se, let's say 2 parents and a child, that's like $50 right there pretty much, just in tickets, not even counting food and stuff like that. So I mean, it goes from being a fun afternoon activity to an investment.
A fun afternoon at the movies,
Yeah. Now, I guess I'm just more disappointed in that, like, the movies that are, you know, that critics love, so like the movies that critics love, you know, when those come out, like, not enough people watch them, and I think those are probably the most disappointing, because there is quality work, you know, getting out there. It's just that it's not reflecting, you know, in the box office numbers.
Yep.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
I don't know. All I know is that, you know, once December rolls around, we'll be ready.
You know, too, the interesting thing about this year, and I guess last year too, is how, if you notice how studios are taking blockbusters nowadays, they're all either reviving old franchises or they're trying to start new franchises or doing weird hybrid movies. Like, for instance, Batman v Superman. It was like this weird mesh trying to, like, jumpstart a universe but also be like a sequel in a way. Or you have a movie like Pirates of the Caribbean, like the last one came out like years ago or something, and nobody really cared about it. Transformers: The Last Knight is trying to jumpstart a whole new universe of just Transformers spin-offs. Or The Dark Tower is trying to, like, introduce that universe, and just people aren't into them because they just don't like it's just like this weird kind of like studio system where they're like run by some strange board of people that don't understand what people want to see or something. I don't know. It's like, man. Gone are the days of getting like a director-driven film or something, man.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting more expensive too, which doesn't help, because then, it's less director-driven, and it's more like studio meddling, which is actually why in one of my courses we were having a discussion about this, how Netflix is really changing the game, so to speak, because more directors are going to Netflix to do their stuff, because Netflix is more creator-driven, more director-driven with their stuff. Like, and even, what's the David Ayer? I think it's his name.
He's doing Bright.
Yeah, he's doing Bright for Netflix, and even he said, like, one of the first things he said, and Will Smith said the same thing, was like, they were both like, we love Netflix because they let us just make the movie we want to make. They're not trying to, like, mess with anything. Like, we tell them what we want to do, and they're just like, great, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't like Suicide Squad where Warner Brothers hired a trailer company to cut the final edit.
Yeah, I feel like when David Ayer and Will Smith said that, it was like a direct kind of hit towards basically it was a hit towards Warner Brothers in that whole like fiasco that happened. I mean, then also you got to think too, like, I mean, if I look at movies way back when, like Daredevil is a good example, because like you had the theatrical version that had to get changed and stuff because like the studio concerns for certain things, and then like just in general, like the way movies are rated too. Like the studio wanted the movie to meet this certain rating so they can sell like more and be more advertised. And because of that, things got changed and things got cut out. Like that one subplot got cut out, and they wanted more romance and everything in the movie. because Elektra was in it, so they forced that more in there. So the theatrical version of Daredevil versus the director's cut is a lot different, and director's cut is better because that's the original vision. But I mean, like, that's just an old example of like meddling, you know? Like, I feel like if the Daredevil movie, I mean, obviously we had the Netflix show of Daredevil, which is vastly superior, but I mean, like, I kind of see it as that. It's like the director's cut of Daredevil would be like if it was just made for Netflix, and the theatrical version is like the studio version, and that's a perfect example of why directors and stuff want to work with Netflix now, because they can make their cut, only their cut, not a studio cut. So
yep. And you see so many on home release too, you see so many like the extended cuts or whatever, the director's cut, or like an hour of deleted scenes or something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of crazy. I don't know. And also too, test audiences are a very big factor in how movies are made now too. And speaking as someone who has participated in many test audiences, yeah, it's such a weird process because you're literally telling the people behind the movie how they should do it. And it's kind of weird. I don't know. It's like this double-edged sword where it's like it could help a movie, but at the same time, it's like if the people are telling the filmmaker stuff to do, it's kind of compromising what they set out to do in the first place. So I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about like just how much a test screening should affect the movie, because then it's like, is it the director's movie anymore? Because I mean, it's hard to get a true director style, you know, if you're always suppressing it.
Yep.
Which is why they always say, like, directors' movies early on are always better than the later movies, because they usually are making more low budget movies that are better. Like, I think Neil Blomkamp is a good example of that. Like, he got praised for a lot of his early work, and then as he made more stuff, like, it wasn't as well received. Cause,
George Lucas.
Well, no, I think George Lucas is a different situation, because he went from like just kind of being the kind of conductor of things to trying to be like the conductor and the train. Like, he tried writing it, directing it. I mean, he didn't star in it, but I mean, like, he might as well have been starring in it with Jar Jar. So
he should have been Anakin.
George Lucas?
Yeah.
Sand. It's coarse and rough.
I'm just imagining George Lucas's face on a train now.
Oh my god.
Alright, I think that is going to close out this episode, though. So thanks again, guys, for tuning into Hybrid Movies episode 30. If you want to drop us questions, you can leave them below or on Twitter using the hashtag AskHybridMovies. And if you want to follow me on Twitter and tweet me questions or talk about movies, you can find me at who's_Nick. James, where can the people find you?
So, folks, you can find me on Twitter at hairbeverage.
Okay, and Josh?
You can find me on the Hybrid Network Twitter. My personal Twitter's in the description of it.
Yep.
A few people have tweeted me, actually, which surprises me every time. But if you tweet the Hybrid Network Twitter account, I'll either CJ, Nick, Chris, I mean, someone will reply to you. So,
yeah,
likely.
definitely.
So, I mean, it's a good way to contact me.
Yep. Okay. And with that said...
All right. Until next time.